She has a plan, a secret mission filled by gratitude and affection. She chooses her mother's favorite breakfast. Delight Foods, House Sakoko, a harmonious blend of flavors crafted with care and devotion. The taste of tradition and comfort. In that moment, their connection deepens, a bond strengthened by a shared experience. Delight Foods, House Coco, a delicious breakfast made with care and love in just 2 minutes.
My name is Fernanda Samoa, Director and CEO of Second Generation IT Group. Guess what? We are currently in Ghana, and we're going to offer the best courses that will allow you to work anywhere in the world. The courses that we're going to offer, we're talking about cloud computing, we're talking about introduction to computers, networking, network security, cyber security.
We have a conducive learning environment, and our programs are interactive, where the students get to ask questions and they get answers that's going to help them, and we equip them with the right knowledge.
Classes are offered Monday through Friday. It depends on which day you want to come. We have morning shift, we have afternoon schedule, we have evening schedule, and also on the weekends. To register, go to www.secondgenit.com and register.
Hi there, my name is Calipos, the really boss with one S. Happy New Month to all of you. Welcome to a month of new possibilities. Do you know why life has been made so easy? It's because of TapTapSend. People, TapTapSend is here to make your life easy if you want to transfer money to Ghana. If you want to transfer from USA, if you want to transfer from UK, Europe, Canada, a lot of places all to Ghana. And guess what? When it comes to Ghana, there's no e-levy charge. So, what are you waiting for? Download TapTapSend on Google Play Store and App Store and be ready for exciting offers coming your way each time, every time on TapTapSend.
TapTapSend. Send more, spend less.
Living in Ghana, abroad, a first-timer visiting Ghana, or a company wondering where to get quality service providers in Ghana for any job? Then Ejumapa On Demand Services is here to assist you. Ejumapa On Demand Services connect requesters and service providers such as masons, plumbers, electricians, auto repairers, home and office cleaners, trash collectors, rent agents, spa attendants, roofers, beauticians, teachers, CCTV installers, and all artisans on one platform. Yes, one platform. Trust Ejumapa On Demand Services to sort you out any day, anywhere, and at any time. To download the app, please visit the App Store and Play Store or visit our website www.ejumapa.com.
God, it's Friday, guys. I welcome you live on SBTV International, SBTV Africa. We are streaming live on SBTV International YouTube channel, SBTV Africa, on Facebook and YouTube as well. So you are welcome. Make sure you tap on subscribe, share to your friends, invite your friends to join us, and drop your comments. Today, every Fridays, you know I'm here with Lawyer Wisdom Akao from Wiseman Solicitors in UK, London. My name is DJ Nyame. Welcome on board. Make sure you drop your questions for today at the comment section. When the time is up, Lawyer is going to read it for you. So you are welcome on board. Share the link. If you are watching us live on Facebook, make sure you share the link to your friends. Invite your friends to join us on board if you are watching us on YouTube as well. Both channels, SBTV International, SBTV Africa. Today we are doing English. You know, if it's your first time, today we are doing English. Next week we'll do our local dialect. So let me go straight and invite Lawyer Wisdom Akao, solicitor from Wiseman Solicitors. Breaking news from the UK. What's happened? It's about UK news, nothing else. Only UK. So let me go straight and invite Lawyer Wisdom Akao. Lawyer, welcome on board. How are you doing?
DJ, thank you. You too, welcome on board. I'm good. How are you?
Nice one. I'm great. How is UK?
The way you left it the last time.
That was last year, but we are talking about this year, lawyer beg.
We're good. We're good. I mean, taking it one day at a time, and that's all we can say.
Okay.
We thank God. And
Oh, okay.
how's the homeland?
Ghana, we are here. we did. We did tough. Okay,
Yeah,
so what's happening? I mean, some latest updates from the UK concerning some money, some fees, and all that. I mean, renew your blah 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 blah. You can tell us more. I mean, latest updates from the UK. So those who just join us, make sure if you have any questions, quickly drop them. When the time is up, we'll put it on the screen. Make sure you just drop one question at a time. Don't be repeating. Some people, they will type one question, they will be copy and paste. No. Just relax. Drop your question. And when the time is up, we'll put it on the screen. So, Wisdom Akao from Wiseman Solicitors. Lawyer, over to you. What's in the news from
thank
the
you.
UK?
Thank you very much. Well, the UK, hello, greetings to everyone. Greetings to all our listeners, watchers from all across the world. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are. Right, with the UK, we are still here, and thankfully, we have life, so we thank God. But what is interesting is I just want to put out there a few updates, very important things that are happening, and also there is the increment in the application fees and how high it has gone and how it's affecting people from bringing their family members to the UK.
Wow.
So I will look at that. Now, how much you have to pay for the application fee, and then how much you have to pay for the immigration health surcharge. There are some applications that you don't pay the immigration health surcharge, but there are some other applications where you have to pay the IHS. It's immigration health surcharge, but we normally call it the IHS. So I'll look at all of that and what the difference is. And which applications that you don't have to pay the IHS. So I'll look at that. But before that, I will just put out here a few updates, one or two updates that you need to know. The first one is the Home Office is refusing, or the entry clearance officers are refusing a lot of applications for children of people or sponsors who are in the UK with the health and care visa. So people who are on the health care visa route and they have applied to bring their children to the UK to join them, the Home Office is refusing almost all of these applications. Now, that is for the children. I'm not talking about the adults, but I'm talking about the children. Now, example, where you are in the UK with a healthcare visa and or you are a partner to someone who is a healthcare worker or health and care visa person who is in the UK, and you want to bring your child to the UK, the Home Office previously, when the whole thing started, children were being granted alongside with their parents. And then a lot of things changed. Now, if assuming that both parents are coming to the UK and not coming with their child or their children at the same time, that is a category of applications that are usually refused. Or the man is married to the woman and the woman has children before they got married. So that is, the children are the man's stepchildren. These applications are also being refused. When you apply for the children, a lot of them are being refused. In fact, almost all applications are being refused. Why? Because the rule says you have to show sole responsibility. The parent who is in the UK, you have to show that you have entire responsibility over the child's life. So, and when we talk about sole responsibility, we mean the child's, let's say, maintenance, food, their medical needs, their health, and everything, and also their education, their social life, their religious life, and you make all the decisions about every aspect of the child's life or the children's lives. Now, if you are not able to prove that you are responsible for every aspect of the child's life or the children's life, then the Home Office, on that basis, will refuse your application on the grounds that you haven't proved that you have sole responsibility. And that is very common now, very, very common refusals now because you haven't proved that you have sole responsibility. So I just want us all to be aware that if you want to bring your child or your children here and you're on the health and care visa route, you have to make sure you put your documents together very, very well. So, how can you prove sole responsibility? Now, like I mentioned, it cuts across every aspect of the child or the children's lives. Their education. Make sure you obtain a letter from the children's school, and the letter has to inform whoever it concerns that you are the only parent that make all the important decisions about the children's lives or the child's life. You make all the major and important decisions. Nobody else makes such decisions. It's just you, the parent, who is in the UK. And also, the school can add that when you were in Ghana, you were the only parent that was in contact with the school or they had on their records as the parent of the child until you left until you left your country, and then somebody else obviously took over, but you have not abdicated your responsibility. The person does the day-to-day runabout, but you have retained the sole decision making power concerning your child. So that is an area that the school can import into the letter. If the school just writes that, yes, you are the parent and the child attends the school there, and therefore they have no reservations about you taking your child out of the school, that letter does not go far enough to prove that you have sole responsibility concerning the child's life. So let the school state what you do, which is a matter of fact that that is what you were doing and you continue to do. Let that be inputted into the cover letter from the school. So that is one. Number two, you have to get a letter from the hospital or the clinic where the child attends or where you used to take the child to until you left, and where the child still attends if they are not well since you left your country. So the hospital and all the clinic would have to write clearly that again, you are the only parent that they have on the records as the father or the mother of this child. And therefore, you were the only person who used to bring this child for appointments until you left. And since you left, yes, another person does that on your behalf. But again, they have to take consent from you before they administer treatment to this child if the child came to the hospital or the clinic for treatment. Very, very important. If you do not show this, it will not support the fact that you have sole responsibility over your child's life. So, very important. The next one you can use as evidence of sole responsibility is if you had a custody order of your child before you left the country. That is a very good example of a document you can use to prove that yes, you have all the responsibility and the court has passed the responsibility about the child to you. So you have sole custody order, you have a custody order. That means that you are in charge of every aspect of this child's life. So with that, you have actually proved the medical, that is the letter from the hospital, or the letter from the clinic, and the letter from the school, and a letter from, of course, the court order, which is the custody order, which proves that you have the responsibility for this child. That is that. Another document that you can use is, let's say, a letter from the church. If you're a religious person, or a letter from the mosque, which can confirm that, yes, even though you are no longer in the country, you used to attend church or mosque with this child or these children until you left. And since you left, you have actually left the child in the care of somebody else, and the person also still attends the church or the mosque with this child. If that happens to be the case, then at least you have proved that you have sole responsibility over this child's life. Now, even with all of this, the Home Office can still refuse your application. And when that happens, or if that happens, you can then go for admin review. So I just want us all to be informed of the what is going on in terms of the refusals, in terms of what applications are being refused, particularly with regards to the children. Now, I've noticed from some refusal decisions I received that sometimes the caseworker would email you, the parent, to bring a consent or to bring additional documents from the child's other parent. So let's assume that the mother of the child is in the UK and the mother applied to bring the child to the UK. And then she received an email from the caseworker or the decision maker that I want you to provide additional documents or a letter or consent from the child's father to prove that he has given permission for the child to travel. Now, as soon as you obtain that consent from the child's other parent, and you use that as an additional evidence to the case worker, they will then turn around and make a decision by saying, well, the fact that the child's father has given consent means that they have an impact or an input into the child's life, which means they have some responsibility over the child's life. And therefore, you, the mother who is here in the UK, you have not proved that you have sole responsibility. So that is it. So that consent form that you obtained in response to the Home Office's request for you to send an additional information, the same consent form will be used to refuse your application because they would now interpret it to mean that the child's other parent has some uh, share or some role to play in the child's upbringing, and therefore you cannot prove enough that you are the only person responsible for this child. On that basis, your application will be refused. And once it is refused, you can't appeal. You can only go for admin review. And admin review, that is administrative review, can take many, many months. It can take 5 months, 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, even a year. It can take that because the Home Office from time to time will just come and tell you that yes, they have been inundated with so many administrative review cases, and therefore they are unable to make a decision within the stipulated time, and therefore they apologize, and then they keep pushing you on and on and on. So that is what it is. So responsibility is being used as a basis of refusing children's applications to join their parents who are in the UK on the healthcare visa route. And therefore, make sure you have all your documentations properly checked and in order before you proceed with that application. Otherwise, it will be refused. It will be refused, and you don't have any right of appeal. The next thing I want us to be updated on is that the EU nationals who married before Brexit, before 31st of December 2020, their application is still being considered under the EUSS uh, rules, not under the UK rules. So I have seen some decisions where people made the wrong application. So it is something that is very topical, is happening. That is why I'm bringing it up. If you are an EU national, you are from Germany, Portugal, Spain, France, Italy, any of these countries, and you are in the UK, and you married your partner or your spouse you got married before the 31st of December 2020, your application is considered under the EU rules, the EU settlement scheme rules, the laws, not under the UK rules. And therefore, if you want to make an application, look at the date of the marriage certificate, the date on the marriage certificate, that is the date of marriage. That will determine whether you come under the UK rules or you come under the EU rules before you submit your application. And you use the right application form, not the wrong application form. Otherwise, your application will not be successful. So that is that. Now, if you married after or from the 1st of January 2021, it means that your application will be considered under the UK immigration rules, Appendix FM, Section EC-P as a partner, or for as EC-C for a child, not for not under the EUSS family permit route, not under Appendix EU. So let me say that again. If you have an EU passport, you are an EU national, you have an EU passport, yes, but you married in 2021, that is from the 1st of January 2021, your application will be considered, or your partner's application will be considered under the UK laws, not under the EU laws. If the marriage is before 2021, it is under the EU laws. If it is from January 2021, 1st January, it is under the UK law. So let's bear that in mind as well, so that you don't make the wrong applications. Recently, I've seen quite a few refusals, and that is what is happening. The next thing I want to add up is that now, if you marry to an EU national, genuine relationship, everything is in order, and your children have been issued the EUSS family permit to join you here in the UK, please check very carefully the annotation on the vignette or the annotation on the visa. Sometimes they write to ACC. The ACC means to accompany the child. So if the visa says to ACC, what it means is that you have to go and bring that child to the UK. You have to go and bring the child to the UK, or the children to the UK. That is to accompany. It means you are going and the child is accompanying you, the two of you, and then you come to the UK. That is it. But if it says to join, it means that you will still be in the UK and the child will come to join you here in the UK. In that case, the child or the children can travel as unaccompanied to the UK. That is okay. If you don't pay a close attention to the annotation, whether it is to accompany or to join, and you don't go for the child, if it is to accompany and you don't go, the child will not be allowed to get on board, and that will be an additional cost for you. You may have to buy another ticket to go to Ghana to change the child's ticket before you come to the UK. That is an additional cost to you, which is not very, very pleasant, especially if you haven't budgeted for any extras. So that is what it is. So always check the visa you are issued, the EU family permit you are issued, and check whether it says to accompany or to join. You have to check this before you know what to do. If you don't understand, please speak to your legal rep, and then that will determine whether you have to go for the child or the child can come to join you here in the UK. That is very, very important. But this only applies to EU nationals, not to people who are married to settled persons or British citizens. So if you are married to a person who has a British passport or British citizenship or indefinite leave to remain, they don't have that to accompany or to join. So in that case, you can buy a ticket for the child to come as unaccompanied, or you can go for your own child, for the child without any difficulties. If you want somebody to bring the child to join you here, of course, you have to give them a letter and some additional documentation so that when it gets to the border at the UK, at Heathrow, it becomes easy for them to go through the immigration without any problem. So please take note of this, and also be advised that whether you'll be allowed to get on board or not, it depends on what annotations you have on your visa. The other thing I want to add here is this, is that recently we've had some encounters with people traveling from Ghana to the UK, person who has been married or people who have been married, they have got their visa to travel to the UK. Now, when they get there, they are told that unless you are having your marriage certificate, you cannot get on board. There is no rule, there is no law which says you have to carry your marriage certificate with you before you get on the plane. And therefore, if anybody tries to tell you that you have to have your marriage certificate in your hands before you get on board, you can ask to speak to somebody who is higher than that level of person speaking to you. Probably they are not properly informed. It is no requirement that you must have your marriage certificate in your hands before you travel to join your partner here in the UK. So that is also something I want us to be fully aware of before we proceed. Now, also, cancellation of visas. Again, recently we've had to deal with visa applications, and of course, visas that were granted, they got to Heathrow and a lot of difficulties, and they have had to cancel their visas because they did not respond accurately to the information that the Home Office requested from them. In other words, whatever information they inputted onto their application form was totally different from what they said when they arrived here. And because of that, their visas were cancelled and they could not come in. And even those that were allowed to come in, their passports were collected from them, and then they were asked to report for a further interview before it will be handed over to them. So all I want to say is this: when you make an application, just make sure you keep a copy of the form, the copy of the application form, and you don't have to print and hold a copy of the form. No, because if it is a genuine relationship, there are certain things you don't have to, nobody has to tell you because it's a genuine relationship. So, but you have to know whatever information that has been put on the form, so that when you get to Heathrow, you get to Gatwick, you get to Manchester, you get to Birmingham Airport, and you are questioned, of course, because it is a genuine relationship, because all the documentations are clean and clear, you can respond confidently and that you pass through without any problem. The border force officers there are there to do their work. They are there to do their work. So they are not there to frustrate anybody. They are only there to do their work. And therefore, all they require from you is to give them consistent and believable responses to their questions. Once that is done, you have no problems with them at all. But it is up to you to make sure you have your information accurate so that you don't have any problems when you get to the port of entry. So those are some of the informations that I thought will be important to us this evening, and then we can go on with briefly in terms of the documentations needed for spouse visa application and the cost that it accrues now. DJ, I think I want to go on with the cost now, and then I will then look at additional documents that are required for this application, if that is okay with you, sir.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. Right. So now, assuming that somebody wants to bring their partner to join them here in the UK, you're a British citizen, you have indefinite leave to remain, or you are an EU national, and you have settled status or pre-settled status. You want to bring your wife to join you. We are all aware, or most of us are aware. I'll be wrong to say we are all aware because not everybody listens to the news. But most of us are aware that The Home Office is increasing the financial threshold from 18,600 to 29,000 pounds from the 11th of April. And therefore, if you have an application to make before then, please submit it. Otherwise, you'll be caught by the 29,000 pounds increment in the financial threshold. So that is for your information. And also, the Home Office has increased. They have increased the fee that you have to pay when you want to join your spouse here in the UK. Now, if you want to join your partner, your husband, or your wife in the UK, you need to pay some amount of money for the application fee and for the IHS, which is the Immigration Health Surcharge. What do you have to pay? Previously, the fees are always quoted in dollars and then converted into pound sterling. As we speak today, an adult, if you are an adult, you want to bring your partner, obviously an adult, to the UK, the Home Office fee is £1,909.61p. So it is 1909.61 pence for every adult. You want to join your husband or your wife in the UK, the Home Office fee is 1909.61. It keeps changing depending on the exchange rate. So, but this is what it is as at today, 190961. So somebody will say £2,000 just to make it, you just approximate it to £2,000. That is for the application fee alone. And you have to pay the IHS, which is the Immigration Health Surcharge. The Immigration Health Surcharge is currently at £3,211.63 pence, please. So it's £3,211.62 pence. So it's 3211.62. So DJ, what you actually sent to me is lower than what it actually is today. So if you add the IHS, which is 3211.62 to the application fee of 1909.61, you need £5,121.23 for one person to come to the UK. So let me say it again. You need £5,121.23 for your husband or for your wife to join you here in the UK. If you do not have that money, in addition to meeting the threshold of 18,600 or 29,000, your partner will not come to the United Kingdom. So you need £5,121.23 before your husband or your wife can join you here in the UK. The other one is for children. For the children, the Home Office fee is 1927.28. That is for the kids. Now, what happens is when you make the application for the kids, the Home Office only takes the Home Office fee. The entry clearance only takes the Home Office fee. They don't take the IHS. Then they will later come and email you that they are at the stage of making a decision, or they are in the stage of making a decision, and therefore you should go and pay the child's IHS, which is also very likely going to be £3,211.64. So if you are applying for one person, which is 5121.23, that is one person, and you are coming with a child, let's assume that they are paying the same amount. You'll be paying £10,242.46. That is if you come in with 2 children. That is how much it's going to cost you in terms of home office fee and the IHS. If you have 3 children, you're looking at 1,512,1.23 times 3, and that is 15,363 pounds and 69 pence. And if you have 4 children, then of course that is 20,484 pounds and 92 pence. So the more kids or the more dependents you have and you want to bring, the more expensive it becomes. So what should you do? If the man is here, the woman is in Ghana, and you think it's going to be too much for you to pay all of this at one go, what you can do is you can apply for the woman or the man to join you first. Once he or she comes and they are also working, then you could both find a way of together apply to bring the children, and then you split the cost. I mean, it will be shared, which makes it lighter for each person rather than one person bearing all the 20,484 pounds, where it is a parent plus 3 or 4 children coming to the UK. So the figures again, the IHS is 3211.62, and then the application fee is 1909.61 and also 1927.28. That is the home office fee, depending on whether it's a child or is an adult. This is what you have to pay. So this is the fee right now. If for any reason you can't afford the fee, you may want to apply for fee waiver. Obviously, that is a possibility, but it only means that you are not even able to care for your spouse, let alone look after them when they come, and therefore that even to a certain extent affects the decision. It can affect the decision. In any case, in any case, if, like I said, you think you can just afford for one person, the partner, she can come, and then you both work, put resources together, and then you can apply for the children to join you here in the UK. So that is what it is when it comes to the application fee for spouses and children. Of course, I also want to bring in this here. There are some applications that you don't have to pay the IHS. Example, if you have British citizenship or you have indefinite leave to remain and you are applying to bring your child alone, not with their mother or with another, not as part of a family application, you are only applying for the child to join you, the father or the mother here. In that case, you will come under you come under paragraph 297 of the immigration rules, not under appendix FM of the immigration rules. You come under paragraph 297, not under appendix FM. Paragraph 297, you only pay the home office fee, which in this case will be 1909.61. You do not pay IHS. Let me say that again. If it is under paragraph 297, you do not pay IHS. You only pay the home office fee. Because under 297, if the child is granted, or when the child is granted, the child will be granted indefinite leave to enter, not 2.5 years. It's people who are on the 2.5 years that have to pay the IHS as part of their application. But if the child is going to be granted indefinite leave to enter, then they don't have to pay the IHS. So let's take that on board. So be very, very sure of which application you are making. If you are supposed to make a 297 application and you go and submit an Appendix FM application, they will take your money. That is in the case of a child, they will take your money and they'll still give you 2.5 years anyway if you don't qualify for, or if they don't deem it that you are qualified for indefinite leave to remain, to enter. So please take that into account so that you don't spend money unnecessarily. You don't waste money. So that is that. Or if you are a British citizen, other than by descent, and you have a child outside of the UK, your child is a British citizen automatically. In that case, don't make an Appendix FM application. No, don't submit Appendix FM application, and also do not submit 297 application. No Appendix FM, no 297. In your case, you have to apply for British passport for the child straight away. So the child will be granted, the British will be issued, not granted because the child is already a British citizen anyway. The child will be issued the British passport after all the processes have been gone through. It is quite a process. You have to provide a list of documents to prove that you are the father or the mother of this child and the child was born outside the UK, and you are still, you have evidence to prove that you are the parent. If all of this is proved, then you are able to apply for or obtain a British passport for the child to join you here in the UK. So when it comes to British passport application for children overseas, children that are overseas, you don't have to pay the IHS fee. You don't. And if you're applying for a child to join you here on indefinite leave to enter, again, you do not pay the IHS of £3,211.62p. It's only when you're making an application under paragraph 2 under Appendix FM. Appendix FM, either as a partner or for a child, then it attracts the IHS fees, and you have to pay that for you to be deemed to have made a valid application at all. So that is what it is. Now, generally, I've just had a question as to what are the general documents one can provide to support this application. So I'll just go through it briefly in a few minutes, and then I'll let the questions come if there are any questions at all. Now, if you want to bring your spouse to the UK, you have to obviously show that there's a relationship going on, and therefore you need proof of relationship. It can be, of course, telephone calls, WhatsApp messages, visits to Ghana, pictures, and things of the sort, emails. If you do email each other, you can bring all of this as evidence of the relationship, ongoing, subsistent, genuine and subsistent relationship. You can do that as part of the application. And then you also have to provide, of course, like I said, pictures. There are pictures that you cannot or you should not use. If you were not in Ghana or you were not in your country at the time of the marriage, don't try to match two pictures and take a picture of it to look as though you were there. That is false document. It can lead to a 10-year ban. So don't do that. It's better not to prove that you have any pictures than to use false pictures. Don't do that because it will cost you big time. Don't use false photographs. Don't try to make photographs or don't try to doctor photographs to look like yours or you are the person in that. Don't do that. It will jeopardize your application and your future chances of coming to the UK for a very, very long time. So you have to prove the relationship. After proving the relationship, you have to prove that you meet the financial requirement, which is what I've already talked about, which is the 18,600 as we speak up until the 10th of April. But from the 11th is going to 29,000 pounds. You have to meet that threshold before you can bring your spouse to the UK. Then from there, what you need is you would need your marriage certificate, obviously, as evidence to prove that you are a married couple. Then you can ask that. Now, the marriage certificate, we have two types in Ghana. We have the ordinance and then we have the customary marriage one. Whichever you are using is acceptable, but make sure there are correct spellings, the names are spelled correctly, the place of the marriage is correct, all the details are correct, the registrar's signature and the names are all showing clearly. If you can provide all of this, then certainly you can prove that you have formed a marriage relationship. You have a married, you are married, and this is the evidence to prove that you are married, and it is the marriage certificate. Then, of course, you also have to provide proof that you meet the English language requirement, the English language test, and that is level A1 if you are outside the UK, level A1. With that, you are able to prove that yes, you meet the threshold of the English requirement, and then you can submit your application. It has to be at least A1, but anything higher than that is acceptable. A1 and above is acceptable. And or if you have a degree, if you have a first degree, then what you do is that you can bring your degree certificate plus your transcript and a letter of proficiency in English, that the subject was actually taught in English. You can bring that in support with the application, but you need to take that to actors for actors to confirm that the degree you've studied in your country is of equivalent level as a degree in the UK. With that actor certification, you are able to proceed with your application without having to write the test. And you need to provide a tuberculosis. If you're coming from certain regions in the world, it is required that you provide tuberculosis as part of your application. So that is also a document that you require to prove. You need pay slips, 6 months pay slips, 6 months bank statements. You need a letter from the employer that has to input specific information into that letter, not just an ordinary letter, but a letter that covers certain requirements. When you started the work and additional information, you have to add all of that. You need your P60, which will reflect how much work you actually done in the year. Now, assuming that you work with a company first for maybe a year or two or three, and you left that company to start work with another company, which is only maybe 3 months ago, but you have to prove 6 months pay slips. But you've just started work with a new company for 3 months. The question is, do you want to wait and get 6 months pay slips with the new employer, or you can rely on the previous pay slips from the previous company? The answer is this: if you choose to rely on the previous work, then you have to provide 12 months pay slips from the past job. You provide 12 months pay slips from the previous job and 12 months bank statement from the previous job and your P60 from the previous job to prove that you met the financial requirement at the time. And your new job, even though you just started for 3 months, with the contract of employment, you will still or you still meet the financial requirement of 18,600 or 29,000 pounds, whichever is applicable, depending on the time that you are making the application. If you can provide this, either 1 year from the previous job plus 3 months in the new job, or you wait for another 3 months in the new job and you can get 6 months pay slips from the new job, and then you can proceed with your application for your spouse to join you here in the UK. So if you've been married before, of course, you need your divorce certificate or certificate of decree absolute. You need that. Again, if your partner has been married before, you need that also as part of your application. If your children are joining or the children are coming with you, then certainly you need to prove that they are your kids, their birth certificates and things of the sort. And if they are your partner's children, if they are your partner's children, not your children, you are in the UK, the kids are coming, but the kids are not your children. In that case, that is where it calls for additional documentations in terms of who has sole responsibility for this children or this child. Very, very important. Otherwise, the application will be refused. If you don't meet the requirements, it will be refused. So, generally, these are the things you need: payslips, bank statement, letter from employer, P60, tenancy agreement. And when it comes to tenancy agreement, you need to show that you have an accommodation that is suitable or meets the Housing Act, Part X of the Housing Act. 1 room is 2 people, 2 rooms for 3 people, 3 rooms is for 5 people, and 4 rooms is for 7.5 people and above. etc., etc. Somebody will say, how can we have a half person? Well, that is how the rules are written. So, yes, I would advise you put your documentations together properly, well done, evidence of visit, tickets and everything, money transfer if you have those. Again and again, make sure you meet the financial threshold of 8,600 or 29,000 from the 11th of April 2024. And once all these things are met, I can tell you you are ready to submit your application. If you submit your application and you are ready to pay the £5,121 and 23 pence, and you want an early decision or priority, you pay an additional £500, and the decision will be made within three will be made within 3 weeks, which is 15 working days. 15 working days, that is 3 weeks, will be made within 3 weeks. And they will take their time to check everything and make sure the documents you have used and everything is accurate. The figures match before they will then proceed to make a decision. So, this is what it is. I will leave it at this. The cost has gone high. It's very expensive. And that is why you don't want to make any mistakes. If you make this application, you submit this application, and it is refused, the Home Office will not refund your application fee to you. Let me say that again. If you make an application for your wife or your husband, and you pay the application fee of £1,906, I will call it £2,000, and the application is refused, they will only refund your IHS to you. They will not refund your application fee, which is £1,909.60. You will not get it back. You don't want to throw this money away. Therefore, take your time, make sure you have all the correct information, all the correct details, all the correct documents before you submit your application. Otherwise, you will be throwing good money away. Particularly where there are children involved, you'll be paying about 10,000 or 15,000 or even 20,000, and if it is refused, you don't get your application fee back. You only get your IHS fees back. So I will leave it at that, and I will respond to questions if we have any at all. DJ, thank you.
Lawyer Wisdom Akao Wiseman Solicitors, thank you so much for the updates. Every Fridays we are here from 6 to 7:30. So today we are streaming live on SBTV International YouTube channel, SBTV Africa YouTube channel, and SBTV Africa on Facebook. But lawyer, on a serious note, Charlie, this your money plenty. Why your people they don't want us to come there? But on a serious note, the money they are charging now is plenty. Is it because maybe the UK is overcrowded now or what? Maybe they
Well,
want to.
it's difficult to say exactly why that is the case, but
why are they charging plenty like that, lawyer? This is
it's a
plenty
lot.
money.
It's a lot. I mean, you to bring your wife or your husband, you have to pay over £5,000.
Why? It's too
You
much.
know, and legal fee is not included. I mean, the lawyer's fee is not part of it. Before you go and pay 5,000, so if you're coming with another child or two children, then you are in £15,000 before you
That-
come and start life in the UK. So it's tough. It is tough. And
and how many months will it take me to get £15,000 in the UK?
are you talking about months? Maybe years.
And that's the question I do ask people. Because if you are paying all this money to come to UK, lawyer, it's too much. Oh,
Yeah,
your
you're
people,
talking about years, not months. To save
me, I'm really
to
talking
save
about man.
£15,000. No, it will take you years. It will take you
Yes.
years. So yes, to really save that amount of money sitting down in your account. Anyway, some people may have it easily, but other people, some of us will have to struggle a bit before we can put that even for over a couple of years to bring your spouse here.
Okay, let's see. Let's go to the comment section and get some questions. You can still drop your questions at the comment section, and then I'll put it on the screen. Lawyer will read it and answer you. So let me just go back and then, lawyer, I have some few questions here at the comment section. Let me go from the top or down. Okay, let me start from here. Uh, okay, let's go.
Thank you. It says, please, I want to ask, what happened if you leave the UK for a holiday and your sponsor's license is revoked, but you are still working? Well, this is a very interesting question. Now, remember that you are in the UK because of the sponsorship. As long as your sponsor license is valid and you are still here as a worker, then you don't have a problem. But if you go on holidays and whilst you are away, the sponsor's license is revoked, then it means that if you get to the border here, point of entry, and they have the information that the license of the sponsor has been revoked, they may not allow you in. Or they can allow you in and give you the option to maybe appeal or challenge their decision if they decide to cancel your visa. They may not, they may. So it's a dangerous thing if your sponsor's license is revoked, even though you are probably working with another company. It has to be, one has to be very careful, particularly when you're coming back in. If the immigration officers check and it is known to them that the license is revoked, they may not allow you in. Or even if they do, they may curtail your leave and you may have to appeal that decision. So please check before you travel. Nana Yao Florking, do you still require P60 in a spouse family visa if you have submitted 6 months bank statement and payslips? Do you still require your P60? What is the refusal rate for this type of visa? The P60 is not mandatory. You don't have to submit the P60. But I almost always ask for the P60 and I send it because the P60 gives a summary of all that you have earned in the year. The P60 gives a summary of your earnings in the year. So if you add your 6 months pay slips, 6 months bank statement with the pay showing in your account, you don't have to add the P60. But I, for completeness sake, added. The caseworker sees the amount you've stated that you earn, the same amount or even higher, reflects on your P60, then it makes life easy for the decision maker. What I do is to make life as easy as possible for the case workers so that they don't have to go looking for things from everywhere. So I put everything on the paper, I list the documents. It makes life very easy for the decision makers for them to decide your application without complications. What should I do if I want to switch from a company who doesn't want me to leave the company to another company? Well, if the company really wants your services, then of course they should give you a good treatment. They should reconsider whatever decisions or why they should listen to why you want to leave, and then maybe if they can reconsider and maybe give you some more money, then you can stay. But if they don't want you to leave and you are also not happy there and you want to leave, the choice is yours. You may get another sponsorship and then leave on and move on, or you get to switch to another category if it is family route or any other category, student route, family route, or any others. You can then make a switch. So it's all up to you to make a decision whether you want to continue with them or you want to switch, depending on how you are with them. What happens to a dependent if your main applicant sponsor is revoked? You would Will you also be denied entry upon your return from holidays? Yes. But like I said, if the information is known to the border force, to the immigration officers, if it is known to them, if the information hasn't seeped to them, they may not know whether the license of that company has been revoked. But if they know, They have their list there. They enter the company name and it shows that it's been revoked. Then yes, even if the main sponsor can be denied entry, the same way the dependent can also be denied entry. Or they can also cancel your visa as well. My sponsor has not given me any switch since arrival. I am working with an agency but worried I'm exceeding the 20 hours. Will it affect my switch or renewal? Yes, you are supposed to actually work with your sponsor. So you want to say my sponsor has not given me any shifts since your arrival, but you are working with another company. Ideally, you're supposed to do 20 hours with another company. I would ask you to be very cautious because if it is seen that you are working with another company more than 20 hours, not with your main employer, that can affect your application or subsequent renewal. Now, no one is due for renewal yet, as far as I'm concerned. But in a year or two's time, people's 2 years would have elapsed. People's 3 years would have also been getting to the end, and then you would have to go and switch. You have to go and apply for extension. You will need a letter from your employer to confirm that yes, you are still working with them. You need evidence. Home Office may ask for 6 months pay slips or 6 months bank statements to show that you've still been working with them. They may need additional information. We don't know yet. If you're not working with your employer and the Home Office asks for those details and you can't provide them, it means that you don't meet the requirements. Or your employer doesn't give you the letter to confirm that they still need your services, it means you can't provide the required documents. Therefore, you cannot switch or you cannot renew your visa. So again, please caution if you happen to be in such a situation. Thank you. I'm applying for a spouse visa, but we only have a church marriage certificate. Can it work? No, it cannot work. Or yes, it can work, depending on whether or not the church is licensed to conduct marriages on behalf of the registrar. There are some churches that have the license. Their premises are registered or licensed to conduct marriage in those premises, and therefore they can issue the marriage certificate. If the church is one that has that authority, then yes. But if it is not one that has that authorization to do that, and it is the church's own the church's own marriage certificate to say this is a marriage between X and Y in this so and so and so church with the logo of the church on it, that will not work. That will not work. Therefore, make sure you get the certificate from the the church that has the license to issue certificates, and not just the church's own hard cover or hardboard card certificate with the church's name and stuff like that. That would not help your case. So please look at it carefully and check. You can send me a copy. I just look at it and just give you a yes or no response. But if you want further consultation, then of course you have to book and then we talk about it. But you can send me a copy of it. Just prompt me. I will take a look at it and just confirm whether it is acceptable or it will not be acceptable. Thank you. Can we sue a sponsor that doesn't provide enough hours as stated in the COS? Well, if he hasn't got job, he hasn't got job. Circumstances do change. So assuming he had, let's say, 20 residents, patients at the time of the application. This is just an assumption. Assuming that when he applied for you to join him or to come and work for him, he had 20 patients, 20 residents. Circumstances have changed. Maybe some of the residents have passed on, or some of the residents have moved to other homes. or the family members have decided to take the residents and look after them. And now he only has 5 residents in the home. There are 20 of you working there. Clearly, the employer hasn't got a job for 20 people attending to 5 residents. The circumstances have changed. So even if you sue the employer, he's not got a job. And therefore, you're not going to go very far. In a situation like that, I would advise you to to look to see if you can find another sponsor and move on, rather than taking this employee. Like, if you take him to court, you tell him there's no job. I mean, there's nothing you can really do. And where there are no jobs, there are no patients, there are no inmates, or that not inmates, but there are no residents in the home. There's not much the employer can do. Maybe he has to, of course, look for more uh, residents in the home, more patients, more people to look after. But if it's not coming, unfortunately, you can't sue him or her for not having a job. If you have EUSS pre-settled status, can you sponsor your partner from Kenya? If you have EUSS pre-settled status and you have an EU passport, if you're an EU national with an EU passport and you have the EUSS pre-settled status, the answer is yes. You can sponsor, or you can apply for your spouse to join you here. But if you are a family member of an EU national, maybe the child or the nephew, the uncle, the niece, etc., you're a family member, and you have the EUSS, you are not able to sponsor your partner until and unless you get your indefinite leave to remain. That is only when you get the chance or the opportunity or the option to sponsor your spouse to join you here. If you are an EU national, yes. If you are a family member of an EU national and you only have the 5 years pre-settled status, no. You have to wait until you get your indefinite before you are able to sponsor your spouse to join. What if a sponsor license is revoked and the employee haven't received any email or letter from the Home Office? What happens? Well, if you have not been informed that the sponsorship license is revoked, you just work on the assumption that the sponsor license is still valid. Particularly if the Home Office hasn't emailed you and your employer hasn't informed you of anything. Maybe you heard that the license is revoked. Then, of course, you can carry on working. But let me say it this way: if the employer categorically tells you that our license has been revoked, even though you haven't received any information from the Home Office, my response is, once the employer has informed you that the license is revoked, you have been notified. Please seek an alternative. If you have to switch, switch. Usually, the Home Office will give you 60 days to switch or to leave the country. If the employer has informed you, advise yourself. If they haven't informed you and there is no indication from the Home Office or from the employer that the license is revoked, then of course, on what basis are you working? You can still carry on without any problems. Yes. Can Home Office put your 60 days ultimate on hold after you have served because it happened to use my company said the HM put? I don't understand. Can Home Office put your 60 days ultimate on hold after you've served? You have been served. Okay, after you have been served, because it happened to us, and my company said that the the Home Office, had put it on hold. Well, I haven't encountered this scenario before. If the Home Office has written to them that the 60-day is on hold, then of course go by what the employer has told you. But I have not seen a scenario like this before. So maybe if the Home Office has put the 60 days on hold, it is possible because of maybe an additional information that they got from the employer. That is why they have decided to put it on hold. But like I've said, I have not dealt with a situation as this, and therefore I'm not able to speak authoritatively to that. Um, I've just joined. Okay, thank you. I'm a student in the UK and want to bring my child along. What documents do I need? How much is the application and IHS cost? I don't have the figures off head. I can't say for certain how much it is, but if you go to .gov.uk, gov.uk, enter student visa application or student dependent visa application, it will give you the figures. I unfortunately I don't have it off head, so I can't give you the that. And if you want to bring your child, if you qualify, you want to bring your child, obviously you have to prove that you are the parent or the child is your child. So you need a birth certificate. You need your COS, your not your your CAS letter, evidence of that you are still a student. You may require a place where the child will live, tenancy agreement if you have one. If you are living on campus, maybe you live on a student accommodation or something, or you have a different address. You need to provide all of that. So of course, birth certificate, copy of your passport, copy of your biometric residence permit as a student, copy of the SCAS letter. You need some of these things to submit the application for your child to join you here in the UK. What happens to your skilled worker visa when you take a job that's not in the same code of your visa shortage list and you are paid through bank? Well, it's just like asking what happens if you're a student, you're supposed to work 20 hours and you're working more than 20 hours. If the Home Office gets to know, your visa can be cancelled. They can cancel your visa. So that is for your information. If the Home Office gets to know that you are working and you are working in another coded job, which is not what you are supposed to be doing, the Home Office can, of course, take action and curtail your leave. DJ, can you give me one advert and then I will be with you in a minute, please?
She has a plan, a secret mission filled by gratitude and affection. She chooses her mother's favorite breakfast, the light foods, house sakoko, a harmonious blend of flavors crafted with care and devotion. The taste of tradition and comfort. In that moment, their connection deepens, a bond strengthened by a shared experience. Delight Foods House of Cocoa, a delicious breakfast made with care and love in just 2 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you. My apologies. I had to let somebody in. So, all right. Questions, please. All right, I've just joined. Okay, please. I'm a student in the UK and I want to join. Yes, so I think I've just answered this. Bank statement, pay slips. If you no, as a student, not necessarily pay slips per se. Copy of your passport, copy of your biometric card, copy of the child's birth certificate, copy of the child's passport, your passport, and your cash letter to show that you are a student in the UK. You can apply for the child. Hello, Boachi Charles, Mr. Boachi Charles. If I don't have family in the UK, I plan to come there. What am I going to do before I get the visa? Well, it depends what you do currently or what you're doing currently. If you're a student, you can also apply for a for a visit visa to tour the UK, but it's not very likely that you'll be granted if you're a student because you may not be able to prove well enough that you'll go back to your country. If you want to study, you can apply to a school or university, pay the fees, they check everything, and they are eligible. They deem you eligible, or you meet the requirements. Of course, then you'll be given the offer. You come and study. You go apply for your visa. You come and study in the UK. That is another option. You have no family here, so I can't really talk about family in the UK. So I can only talk about maybe coming to work in the relevant sector, either the IT sector, the health sector, or any other related sector. If you have a sponsor, if you have a sponsor in that section, either as a teacher or as a minister of religion or anything of this category, you can come in that sector. Hello, Mr. Usu. Can someone with EU dependent pre-settled status bring fiancé, partner, or wife to the UK? Well, this is similar to the one I responded to earlier. If you are a family member of an EU national and you have the pre-settled status, you don't have an EU passport, you have Ghana passport or Nigerian passport or a Zambian passport, a Gambian passport, but you're a family member of a EU national and you have the pre-settled status, you are not settled, and therefore you can't bring anybody to settle in the UK. You have to be settled first. Once you are settled, then you can sponsor your partner, your fiancé, your wife to join you in the UK. So right now, you have to wait until you are settled. Settled first. And when we talk about settled, it means you have indefinite leave to remain. There is no restriction on how long you can live in the UK. You have indefinite leave to remain, or you are a British citizen, or you have an EU national passport, you are an EU national with an EU passport, and you have the pre-settled status that you can bring a spouse to the UK. It says, EU lawyer, please. I am an EU. I have only 1 year left to renew it for indefinite. If I renew, I'm still under EU or not? Well, if true news, all right. Once you get your indefinite leave to remain, you have graduated from the EU rules to the UK rules. That is if, and again, if you're a family member of an EU national. If you're an EU national, you still can still go ahead with your EU nationality and the rules will still apply to you. But if you're a family member of an EU national and you get your indefinite, any subsequent application you make, maybe you want to bring your partner, your child, your etc., etc., it will be considered under the UK rules, not under the EU regulations, not under the EU settlement scheme rules. Hello, Theophilus Beto. Good evening, good evening. What about those who came here by their ankles before 31st December 2020 by EU? Can they bring their family? If you came with as a family member, again as an extended family member of an EU national, and your uncle brought you here and you have your pre-settled status. As long as you have the pre-settled status, you cannot bring your partner here. You can't. You can't bring your wife. You can only do so after you get your indefinite. So wait until you get your indefinite or your settled status, then you can then bring your partner. Right now, as long as you are on the 5 years pre-settlement, you are not settled. You are not fully ingrained and settled in the UK. You are not. That is why you have to wait until you get your indefinite. Then you are able to come. You are able to go and bring your partner, your children to join you in the UK. It's not as to whether or not you were here before 31st December 2020. That is not the issue. The issue is, are you settled? You have indefinite, you have British, humanitarian protection, any category like that. Can someone come as a visitor to visit and later switch to different visa? It's not difficult or almost impossible to switch from a visit visa. If you have a visit visa, remember you said you were coming to visit and return. So if you are coming to visit and go back, then the expectation is that after your visit, go back to your country as you said you will. If you want to switch, or if you decide to stay on after your visit and you intend to switch into another category, it means your visa would have to expire. If your visa expires, you are no longer a visitor. You have become an overstayer. In that case, if you have a wife who has a child, or you have a child that is a British citizen or has 7 years old in the UK or has indefinite leave to remain, on that basis, you are able to switch to your child or your spouse and your stepchild or to your child, not whilst your visa is still valid as a visitor. If you apply, if when you still have a valid visit visa, your application will be refused. It will be refused. Can a spouse be put on the wrong spousal road? I was put on a 10-year route when she came from Ghana. We met all the conditions for yes, yeah, it can be an error. So please, you can just write to them to correct the error of in the big net, the issue of the big net. Yes, I mean, look, the Home Office, they are they are human. They make mistakes. It's not very common, but it does happen. That is why there is the option for you to correct an error in the visa that was issued. So it is possible. If you met all the requirements, you met the financial requirement, the English language requirement, and the accommodation and everything, then I think you can just email them and ask that the correction should be made for her to be put on the 5 years rather than on the 10-year rounds. Please, I have gotten a COS yet to apply for my visa and my dependent. I'm asking if unfortunately I don't apply for my dependent before the 11th, can I still apply for my dependent since the COS was given before the law? Well, the COS may be given before the change, but the application was not made before the change. We're looking at it from the date of application. The date the application was submitted and paid. That is the date you are deemed to have made an application, not when the COS was issued. So even if the COS is issued today and you didn't apply until the 11th or thereafter, the rules have changed and you'll be considered under the new rules. It is the date that you submitted and paid the application. That is when we count from. Okay, all right. Isaac Boyd, please. Does a child born in the UK with father in Ghana and mother in the UK apply alone for residence permit? So the question is, does a child born in the UK with the father in Ghana and the mother in the UK apply alone for residence permit? If I understand it, you mean the child and the mother are in the UK. The child was born in the UK, the mother is here, but the father is outside. And you want to know if you can apply for residence permit. Whatever the mother has in the UK, the child can apply for that. If the mother has nothing, the child will have nothing. If the mother has student visa, she can apply for student visa for as a dependent of a student for the child. If the mother has health and care visa, the tier 2 visa, she can apply for that for the child. If the mother has EU settlement scheme, she can apply for the same for the child. So whatever the mother who is in the UK has, that is what she can apply for the child. If the mother has 2.5 years based on another child, that is a British citizen, the mother can apply for 2.5 years for this new child as well. So that is what it is. What the parent has, the mother has, she can pass on to the child. Can those in the UK who may switch after 11th April bring their dependent with them? Well, from the information we have, I just read recently from the Electronic Immigration Board, where it says that those who are already in the UK can bring their dependents to join them. Until and unless we see anything different, that information is what we are going by, which says that they can continue to bring their dependents to the UK. IHS Travels, hello. I have visited the UK before. I don't overstay, okay? I would love to relocate to the UK. How do I do it? I currently have an admission to Leeds Beckett University, but I have no money for the tuition. Well, that is a problem when it comes to the tuition fee. It's a huge issue for all of us and our family members. It's a huge difficulty. Unfortunately, yes, you never overstayed, which is a good thing on your record, but that in itself is not a basis for you to be granted a visa. I would say if you want to come and settle here, ultimately, then you may have to try very hard and raise the money for the tuition fee. And once you come in, you attend your school, you finish the course, you'll be given 2 years to work in the UK. That 2 years you can work with any company at all that would offer you a job. Whilst there, if the employers are pleased with your work and they have the sponsorship license, they can always sponsor you on the 5 year route with the sponsorship from the Home Office. Then that gradually leads you to settlement. So that is what I can say to this. You can come as a student if you can afford, but if you can afford, then maybe you may think of coming again as a visitor. And when you come, then obviously you can speak to a lawyer to advise on what options that you might have. How long does EU settlement scheme application take for decision to be made in the UK? Well, recently it's taken a long time. It's taken some. I have some that are taken about 6 months, 7 months, or even longer. When the Brexit happened, it was taking sometimes a day, 2 days, 1 week, 2 weeks, it was being decided. Now there is no pressure on the Home Office, and the Home Office is using its resources in other sections rather than to the EU department. So it's taking time. It's taking time. Give yourself maybe up to 6 months and maybe a little longer. Or if there's it's taking too long, just maybe call them, email them, or write to them. I'm sure they'll respond to your query. Albert Marfu, hello. Please, if a student completes with lesser class instead of the masters, can she switch to postgraduate work visa? Well, the thing is, you have to, from the rules we have, you have to successfully complete your course. So if the university says yes, you have successfully completed your course. In other words, you haven't failed. Yes, there are different classifications. We have first class, second class, upper, second class, lower, pass, fail. If the university says you have successfully completed your course and you have passed, I think, I haven't looked at what class you have to give, but I think once you've passed successfully, you should be able to go to the graduate route. What is the health charge for a child whose parents are here in the UK already on a student and dependent visa? I don't know the figures offhand, but I can ask you to go to the uh, gov.uk. Go to gov.uk and enter student visa and then click dependent of a student or check the cost of application. It will be there for you to see. I don't have the figures. These figures keep there. It's a lot of them, so it keeps changing. So please do that right now. I'm sure you'll find it. Go to gov.uk and then enter student visa and you select cost of the application for a dependent. It will be there. You will see it, and I'm sure that will help you. If you have a different address as couples, will it affect your renewal? It depends on which visa route you are on. But it is also possible that, yes, you are here as a partner, but you live in different addresses because of work. Maybe the man is in Birmingham working there or Manchester working there, and the woman is in London. You come home during the weekends or when you are off from work. So the UK, the London is your matrimonial home. So even if the man can prove that yes, I work in Birmingham, pay slips and everything shows that he works in Birmingham or Manchester or Leeds, and the pay slip shows that that is the address on it. However, you have a matrimonial home here in London. and your other documents comes through this address, that should be accepted. That should be fine and not necessarily a problem. But you have to explain that it is because of work purposes. That is why you happen to live separate. But during off times and off days and weekends also, you come to join your partner here in the UK. If your main applicant is not working but the dependent is working with a reputable company, can the dependent renew his stay when the 5 years is due? I pay my taxes and all statutory deductions. The Home Office, they don't normally look at all those the financial based commitments that you honor in terms of your taxes and those things. They don't really look at that. They look at whether or not you are here in accordance with the requirements that on the route that you are on. So it says if the main applicant is not working but the dependent is working, the main applicant has to work because the main applicant is not depending on the dependent. The dependent is dependent on the main applicant. So if the main applicant is not meeting their requirements to be in the UK, it would affect the dependent. So please, the main applicant has to work, and you have to find work in terms of either with the same employer, or you switch to another employer to put yourself in a different category. Otherwise, the 2 years will come, the 3 years will come, the 5 years will come. You have no evidence to prove that you have been with the employer or you meet the requirements, and that can be a huge problem for you. What about if the Home Office sent you a letter that your application is not straightforward? What does it mean? It only means that the Home Office have not been able to make a decision within the time that they are supposed to make a decision. Usually, you make an application, there's a timeline. It can be 6 months, it can be 9 months, it can be 12 months, or it can be 3 weeks or one day, depending on if you've gone for the super priority, etc., etc. Now, if you paid for one day and they are not able to make a decision within one day, they will send you a letter to say that they are unable. They will tell a letter. They'll send a letter to say that the application is not straightforward. It doesn't mean that the application is too complex or anything. It only means that they have not been able to make a decision within the one day that it's supposed to. And maybe they are checking for other documentations to be sure that everything is okay. Or the Home Office can say, we are not able to make a decision within 3 months, which is what they are supposed to do in entry clearance applications. They'll send you an email to say your application is not straightforward. It is only the Home Office's language of telling you that we haven't been able to make a decision within the time we are supposed to make a decision. Don't worry. Just give them time to make a decision. My question is, I'm a dependent on my spouse visa and he works as a support worker, but he was to go back to Ghana after our 3 years visa expires. Please, can he renew it for me before he goes back? Or what is the future for me here in the UK? If your sponsor, the main applicant, after 3 years is going back, then you would have a difficulty in renewing your visa. Remember, you are dependent on the main applicant. It's that straightforward. You are dependent on the main applicant. So if the main applicant is not here working to extend their visa and they go away, yours cannot be renewed. It cannot be extended. And therefore, if they intend to go back home and stay home for long or forever, I would advise you to please look for another option to switch to be on your own rather than continue depending on this main applicant who is going away. Because if they go away and they are not here to provide evidence that they're still here, resident here, your visa cannot be extended, and that becomes a problem for you. As first-time applicant in the UK, can you opt for priority service? Unfortunately, you can opt for it, but the Home Office is very likely to put you on uh, the standard because they want to take their time to go through and check all the documentations and be sure that you meet the requirement before they issue you the visa. So, yes, you can apply and go for the super priority, but it is not likely that they would give it to you. They may want to check and check and check and be certain before they make a decision. So please make sure that you go for the standard. Uh, don't go for the super priority. You may not have your money back. You may or you may not have your money back. So please take note of that. If you couldn't enroll in the university because of the huge amount of fees, would there be any chance for you? If you couldn't enroll because you couldn't pay the fees, the Home Office, the university is very likely to inform the Home Office that you haven't attended. The Home Office may then decide to curtail your visa. You may then have to consider other options to switch to be in the UK lawfully. So that would be my response. If you want consultation on this, you have to maybe call your lawyer or call me or come to the office, and then make we can then decide on what to do. Um, Please, the Home Office recently put my child's application on hold, asking for my application to join my family. I am in Ghana, had planned to come later. They wrote to me that the child cannot apply alone. The mother has a health and care visa for 3 years. Well, in this case, you have to apply for the child to join the mother. If the mother has the health and care visa and she is the one sponsoring, she is not a dependent. Let me put it this way: if the mother is the main applicant in the UK working here, then the child can still apply to join her because from the information we have, they can still apply to join the mother. Or if you are traveling with a child or you want to apply to join your partner with a child, that is also an application you can make. I don't understand why they will say the child cannot apply alone. I would like to see that decision. So please send it through and let me take a look at it and just give a brief advance on that. But normally, yesterday I made an application for some two children to join their mother here. So I don't see why that should not be possible. All right. Ophelia, Deborah, hi. Can I help my partner with my three children? Red book. I myself is on 2.5 years. Yes. If your partner is not having leave to be in the UK, but you have 2.5 years because you have children that are British citizens, of course, your partner can get their stay here in the UK based on you and his stepchildren. That is possible for you to apply for him, for the children to join, for him to stay with you here in the UK. Because that application will come under Appendix FM, section Leave to Remain as a Partner. And because you have 2.5 years and your children are British citizens, he would also be considered under the rules, I think it's GEN 3.2, to be here because it will be an insult. It's going to be harsh. It's going to be unreasonably harsh for them to ask that he be separated from you and the children if you can prove that you are married or you are in a genuine and subsistent relationship. So, yes, that is my response to that question. For a person who has three children, the children are British citizens, and you have a partner, your partner can stay here with you in the UK. So, yes, I am done with my MSc program. How can I apply for extension of my visa for how many years? I think it also be 2 years. MSc, that's master's to be 2 years. Yes, it's either 2 or 3 years. I think the master's is 2 years, so you can apply for. So just go online and apply for the graduate visa. Just enter in graduate visa application. It will give you the link, and then you can carry on from there. Thank you. Thank you very much. DJ, I have another program at 7 at 8 o'clock. So I may have to be running up with this one. Uh,
Let's lawyer. Let's do these two questions. Two questions, and then
okay. What
we can wrap
is,
up because already it's 7:40. We're supposed to end 7:30. So
yes.
you can take these two questions. Then we can.
Okay. Thank you very much. What is the necessary step to take if your sponsor cancel your COS through the Home Office because you didn't report to them? Whilst your appointment letter commences in January. Well, if your sponsor has written to the Home Office or informed the Home Office that you haven't reported and they've cancelled your leave, you have to seek legal advice. This is not the sort of advice we can give over this platform for a minute or two. So speak to your legal rep, sit down with a legal rep. You can come if you want to, or you can call for a comprehensive consultation. Then we give you all the options that you have. Option one is you do nothing. Option two is you go back to your country. Option three, four, five, six can be discussed, and then you will then decide what to do. It's only because the employer has told the Home Office that you haven't worked or you haven't reported. Can you ask your potential employer to sponsor you? Of course, why not? If they are having the sponsorship license, yes, you can speak to them to sponsor you. That is if they are licensed to sponsor, you can ask them to do that. And once they are happy and they want to do it, they'll go ahead and sponsor you to work with them. Yes.
All right, guys. Lawyer, thank you guys for watching today. God willing, next week Friday will be on from 6 to 7:30. Lawyer Wisdom Macau. Thank you so much for joining us today on SBTV International on our YouTube channel, same as SBTV Africa on YouTube and SBTV Africa on Facebook. Thank you so much, Lawyer Wisdom Macau. You can give us your office location. His contact details are on the screens, mobile number and office number. You can just contact them. Wiseman Solicitors. They are in London. Lawyer, your office location, those who are in the UK that they want to visit you, they should come to
Thank
the
you.
print. You don't print visa.
No, we don't print visas, but we print our letters, take it to the Home Office. They read it, they are happy with it, and then they issue you a visa. But we don't print the visas, please. All right, it's Wise Smart Solicitors. Wise Smart Solicitors, as you can see on the screen, Wise Smart Solicitors, number 18 to 9, 18 to 22, the Print House. 18 to 22, Ashwin Street. 18 to 22, Ashwin Street. 8 to 9, the Print House. Let me say it again. Wiseman Solicitors, 18 to 22, Ashwin Street, 8 to 9, the Print House. London, we are in Dalston, Dalston Junction, E8 3DL. E8 3DL. We are right in London, Dalston Junction, close to the Dalston Market. We are behind the McDonald's. DJ Nyami knows our offices. He's been here so many times.
But
And
I know your office, but I'm not there. I'm here in Ghana.
so, so he's been here time and again, so he knows the office. So you can call him. He can direct you straight to the office from Ghana. He can give you the direction to.
Me, I'll tell them to go to Dawson Market and ask
Oh,
for money
please.
matters and those people. What they
We are not.
but when they get there, they can ask for money matters.
Yeah, but we are not in the Dawson Market. So
I know you are not in the market, but me, I will tell them to go to Dawson.
So yes, if you get to the Dawson Market, you ask for the Money Matters, Ajua, and all the Ghanaian shops, Muhammad, all of them, you can all direct you to our offices. So yes, we are here to help as much as we can. We use the rules, we work according to the laws, and look, I always say, you don't have to come to us. We are here to give information. You can get this information, you can use it yourself, you can speak to your legal advisor, you can speak to your lawyer. You can, of course, run with this information to better your lot or to do your application. If you want to come to us, of course, we are happy to assist and to help you. Thank you very much. The telephone numbers are on the screen. It's 0208 0165 384. 0208 0165 384. And the mobile number is 079 31411 Thank you very much. I'm grateful, DJ. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for being of service to our people. Thank you. God willing, next week we'll be on board.
Lawyer Wisdom Akao, thank you so much for joining us. All the best. Enjoy your weekend. Guys, I thank you so much for joining us today live on SVTV International, a new YouTube channel for English interviews. So when you go there, all our videos there on SVTV International on YouTube. Just type it SVTV International on YouTube. It's English interviews. And SVTV Africa is in our local dialect. So you can join us, subscribe to both channels. If you want to come on my show, my numbers are always on our YouTube channel. Just WhatsApp me or send me a voice note. Don't call, please. Send me a WhatsApp message or voice note. Then that's all. DJ Nyame, I want to come on your show. That's all. Then I'll bring you. Let's have a vibe. It's very important if you listen to Lawyer Wisdom Akao, if you want to go to UK or if you're in the UK, you want to know whatever is happening there, new updates, whatever you have to do. You just make sure you watch these programs every Friday from 6 to 7:30. Before you were doing 5:30, but now we've moved to 6 to 7:30. So make sure you join us, God willing, next week. Thank you guys for watching today. All those who drop your comments and all that. Salomon Kwe. Salomon Kwe. Hello, Salome Kwe. Salome Kwe, thank you so much for always supporting SBTV Africa. You watching us, sharing our videos, liking, commenting. Mike Kojo, thank you so much. Okay, Boache, thank you for joining us. Augustine, thank you so much. Godfrey Apraku, thank you for joining us today. Odro Amening, thank you, boss. Thank you, boss. Douglas Boache, thank you so much. Isaac Buedu, thank you so much. Ophelia Debra, Ekumia Ferry, Ras Ekumia Ferry Media, thank you so much for joining us. Kobe Isaac, thank you so much. Nanayao, Flo King, thank you so much. Victoria Usu, thank you so much. Eiduase Travels, thank you so much. Nana Prempe, thank you so much. Albert Mafo, thank you for joining us today. Delis Entry, thank you so much. Odro Amening, thank you so much. Kobe the General, Logistic Ofori, thank you so much. Hussein Tinimu, I hope I mentioned it right. Thank you so much. Peter Young, thank you so much. Gilbert Donko, big shout out to you for joining us. Apostle P. Kwesi, thank you so much. True News, thank you so much for joining us today. SBTV International, thank you so much for dropping your comments there. Just visit SBTV International on YouTube. Just type it SBTV International. Brian, Broby, thank you so much for your comments. Menla, Akajo, thank you so much. Is it Vivi? Vivi, thank you so much. Dasibra Ohene, Westbrook, thank you so much. Buedi Ransford, thank you so much. Nagba Eric, thank you so much for joining us. Vivian Atta, thank you so much. Charles Boachi, thank you. Maya, thank you so much. Daniel Usu, thank you so much. Theophilus Bitor, thank you so much. Ohima Ekwia Ofori Atta, thank you for joining us. Bernardo Usu, thank you. Andrew Vadon, thank you so much for joining us. John Kwete, thank you so much. Emmanuel Ofori, Boama, thank you so much. AI Network, thank you so much. Kim Pilato, he said, DJ Nyame, please, I need your number. My numbers are always on the screens. Go to YouTube, SVTV Africa. You see my numbers there. Or you can just WhatsApp me, +233 244 790 902 or +233 240 677 898. Just it's on our, even on Facebook, it's there. You see +233 244 +233 240 677 898 on our Facebook profile page, SVTV Africa. But when you go on the YouTube channel, you see all these two numbers I just mentioned. They are there. Gilbert Yawasari, thank you so much. Say tua. Emmanuel Bosu, thank you so much. Emmanuel Ofori, Boama, thank you so much. Gabriel Okay. Nana Equia, thank you so much. Who says Lydia? Please, good evening. Hey, thank you. Really, thank you so much. Godwin Raycon, thank you so much. Haji Abba Mustafa, thank you so much for joining us. Guys, Charlie, thank you so much. We have more videos on SBTV Africa on our YouTube channel at SBTV International. So check it out. Follow us for more. Tap on subscribe. Click on the notification bell to watch our new updates, new video. You learn a lot from people in the diaspora and even those in Ghana as well. Life story, experiences. So join us. Follow us for more. My name is DJ Nyame. Charlie, all the best. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy our videos. More videos coming this weekend. Enjoy it. Join us. Share our videos. If you have friends that they want to come on our show, or you know anyone that wants to come on my show to share his or her story, my numbers are always there. Tell the person to just WhatsApp me and come. Let's have a vibe. We are learning. This platform is for learning. It's very important. It's not for noise, bushia, insult and all that. No, we don't do that here. We learn. Just as I've been bringing lawyer, that I know it has, it's helping a lot of people. Yeah, so it's very important. Make sure you join us. Thank you, guys. All the best. When you see me in town, just say tour, and I'll respond to tour. So tour.
My name is Fernanda Samoa, Director and CEO of Second Generation IT Group. Guess what? We are currently in Ghana, and we're going to offer the best courses that will allow you to work anywhere in the world. The courses that we're going to offer, we're talking about cloud computing, we're talking about introduction to computers, networking, network security, cyber security.
We have a conducive learning environment, and our programs are interactive, where the students get to ask questions and they get answers that's going to help them, and we equip them with the right knowledge.
Classes are offered Monday through Friday. It depends on which day you want to come. We have morning shift, we have afternoon schedule, we have evening schedule, and also on the weekends. To register, go to www.secondgenit.com and register.
Delight Cocoa, the authentic, original taste of African porridge. Available in all African and Caribbean shops. Delight Cocoa. Ah, Ede.